Just when you think it can't really get any worse for the New York Jets, they find a new way to let you down even more. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to touch on a couple other things going on in the world of New York sports. I, I really hope we spin the wheel tonight, guys. I feel the need to spin the wheel after that just disgrace of a game on Sunday. But time to try to turn the page and really assess where things are. We're going to try to be as objective as we can, everybody. But I'll tell you what, we know for sure. It is Wednesday night, and we are live. Welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watu-K99. Thank you as always for joining me for another Wednesday night live extravaganza. And well, in the last couple of weeks as Jet fans, it's been one of those things. It's like, okay, things are going horribly, but if certain things go a certain way, maybe there's a way you could get back into the season. It's over. It's run the table or bust. And this is not a situation where this team is like losing by the skin of their teeth. They're finding ways to beat themselves. There are just certain things that they are not capable of doing that good teams find ways to do. So at this point, I feel like it's time. We're still going to preview the games. We're still going to do all of that. But yeah, there's going to be a change or two in the formatting as we get into the main event tonight. I want to say a quick hello to Harlan Abraham, who is here first. I appreciate you being here tonight, my friend. Long time Jets fan, and always brings his perspective. We always appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, before we get into the misery, I'm going to try to delay the heartache as long as I can. Let's talk about what's on my mind and a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. First of all, we're going to talk a little NBA basketball. So the NBA Cup has started. Yes, the NBA Cup. I still think it's ridiculous. This in-season, regular season tournament that is sort of a takeoff of soccer, trying to have a regular season trophy. But to me, it's ridiculous. It's just more regular season games with a ridiculous looking court. So just kind of break this down. Each conference has 3 groups. Each of the groups has 5 teams. Both the Knicks and Nets are in East Group A, along with Orlando, Philadelphia, and Charlotte. And then the 6 group winners around the league will advance to the quarterfinals in Vegas, as well as 1 second-place team from each conference. So that started last night. Orlando beat Charlotte, much to be expected. The Brooklyn Nets were off, and the Knicks beat the Philadelphia 76ers on the road, 111-99. They're now 5-5 for the season. They spoiled Joel Embiid's return. Shot just 2 of 11, 13 points, 3 rebounds. No Tyrone Maxey for the Sixers either. You got to keep that in mind. But the Knicks had a very balanced night. 6 players scored in double figures. Josh Hart added a triple-double, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Karl Anthony Towns, 31 points, 13 boards. The thing, though, that stuck out to me more than anything, and I'm going to zoom in on this, is the court. Look at this thing. Look at the blue court. It looks like, what was it? Who was it? I think it was Boise State football that had the blue turf, something like that. These colored courts, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of these things. I think they look ridiculous. I understand the idea of trying to give it a different feel. If you want to have the cup logo in the middle, that's cool. But here's the thing. Even if you win this cup, what are you going to do? Are you going to raise a banner to the top of Madison Square Garden? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be happening. Okay. But Of course, in my infinite wisdom, I am going to the Knicks Hornets game on Black Friday, so not too far away, about 2 weeks away. I'll be taking the train from Raleigh over to Charlotte, so I can't wait to see what that court looks like. It'll probably look like a beehive, with little hexagons and stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be like a teal court, like that powdered blue Carolina court is what I'm going to be looking at. But the next Knicks game, as far as the Cup goes, is Friday against the Nets. Now, the Knicks actually have a 4-game homestand. They host the Bulls tonight. Is the first of 4 straight home games. Then they get 2 home games against the Nets in a row. On Friday, which is a Cup game, and Sunday, which is a regular season game, kind of weird. Monday, it's Washington. So the Knicks are playing 5 games in 7 days. So that is going to be rather crazy. As far as hockey goes, let's get that eyesore out of there. All 3 locals were in action on Tuesday night. The Rangers, another loss, 6-3 to the Jets, who are 14-1 now. Yes, there actually is a Jets team in sports that is actually competent. The only thing that's been saving the Rangers' bacon are goaltending and special teams. Those 2 things, 57 seconds in, they allow a goal. 57 seconds into the game. At that point, it was like, why am I even watching this game? And the Rangers played a pretty competitive contest against a good team, but every time they made a poor decision, gave a puck away, hello, Mika Zibanejad, I'm calling you out, the Jets would pounce. The Rangers have a very underachieving defense, much like a football team in town. The Keandre Miller-Jacob Truman defensive pair was -3 on Tuesday and are -7 in their last 4 games together. I wish Alon, the heel, I know Alan was here because, he'd be having a ball listening to me talk about this. Just not a good night for the Rangers. The Devils beat the Panthers 4-1, proving there are teams that can actually beat the Panthers. And the Islanders lose to the Oilers in overtime. Connor McDavid with 4 points. And as far as the Giants go, well, the bye week is here. They are now 2-8. They lost in Germany to the Carolina Panthers. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing left to do with Daniel Jones. He missed a wide-open Malik Neighbors on the opening drive, threw 2 big interceptions deep in Carolina territory. And think about this. The Giants were going against the league's 32nd ranked defense, and they got shut out in the first half. Unbelievable. Their next game is against Tampa Bay at home on November 24th. And if I'm Brian Daboll, I'm starting Tommy DeVito. There's nothing else to see with Daniel Jones. He's going to be a career backup for the next 5 to 10 years. Just let DeVito play at this point, especially at home. If you like Jones so much, don't subject him to the Giant fans who want him out at this point. Absolutely want him out. A couple quick hellos to some other folks in the chat. Tony Alexio, good to see you. Hopefully next year the Jets will fly. Oh, they fly every year. It's just that the flight only lasts a couple of weeks before it crashes into the earth. The great Yeti, I was on with him on Jets Worldwide on Sunday. We played the match game. Yeti was a fellow panelist. We had a great time doing that. And speaking of Jets Worldwide, the great Johnny Jimenez. Johnny, every time I stream your channel, I get copyright violations. I don't know what you and Snowball are doing, but watch the copyrights, man. Those videos can't be monetized. I don't know what you guys are doing, but yeah, definitely watch the media you're doing. Second time that's happened. But it is a great show, and I always have a great time whenever I get to come on with them on Sunday mornings. Harlan says it's Brooklyn and the Celtics tonight. Okay, yeah, that would not be a Cup game because the Cup games are Tuesdays and Fridays. And it was actually kind of funny that there were certain Net fans say, we got a better record than the Knicks. Well, they don't anymore. But, I'm sure they'll be hanging a banner in Barclays Center for that historic achievement. I do believe Arkansas is here as well, and I'd like to say hello to Arkansas as well. All right, let's get out of there right now. Enough with the 3 and out because I know what you want to talk about. I know what you want to hear me talk about. You want to hear me talk about the U.S. men's soccer team playing Jamaica tomorrow in the CONCACAF Nations Cup. Oh, you want me to talk Jets? Okay, let's talk Jets. Let's blow this thing up right there. If you know these 2 men, you may need to do a wellness check on them. But I think that expression pretty much sums it all up. David D, good to see you as well, my friend. Glad you made it here tonight. You know, going into this game on Sunday, everything was set up. And the more everything was set up, the more worried I got. Think about it. Thursday night, Baltimore beats Cincinnati. Actually, Baltimore and the referees beat Cincinnati. And I remember on Sunday, I did a couple of deliveries in the afternoon, and I stopped at a little roadside pub in Apex, North Carolina, off Route 1 called the Backyard Bar. They were supposed to have a really good Chicago food truck, and it never showed up. But I hung out with in that bar, and there was only for a while. It was just myself, one other guy who was a Patriots fan, and the bartender who's kind of a young guy, and he's a Jets fan. He's from Long Island. Who would have believed it? David D says the paper bag gets me. You know what? At this rate, we might be moving on to plastic bags. Oh my God. So yeah, so a Jets fan and a Patriots fan walk into a bar and are watching football together. Yeah, he was actually a decent guy. He wasn't a complete prick like most New England fans tend to be. So yeah, I watched some of the early games. I actually drank I drank a pumpkin beer from Southern Tier. Now, I'm a little picky when it comes to the pumpkin stuff, but Chris, who is the bartender from Ronkonkoma, Chris from Ronkonkoma, shout out. He put a little cinnamon sugar rim on the glass, and it was absolutely fantastic. Delicious, delicious beer. But anyway, the games are going on. And of course, Kansas City blocks the field goal from Denver and wins. Buffalo beats Indianapolis. So everything the Jets really had to have happen go right for them did. You could talk about Pittsburgh if you want, and I understand that, but I never felt the Jets were ever catching the Steelers. Although, of course, it had to be Mike Williams catching that game-winning touchdown pass against the Commandskins. That had to happen. But as everything was going right, I'm like, every time this happens for the Jets, they fall flat on their face. And little did I expect that they were going to fall that hard. I figured it would be a game where they would I was envisioning a game where they got up and gave the game away somehow, where they blew a lead. They were never in this thing. This defense, this was one of the worst defensive performances I have watched the Jets have in at least going back to the Todd Bowles days, especially considering the ability of many of the players on that field. And you know what? Even though I was never a fan of Jonathan Gannon, I thought it was not going to be a good hire for Arizona. You know what? Credit to him. The misdirection, it worked against the aggressive Jets nature. I'm done with this defense because when it works, it works. But when it's bad, it gets exploited in the worst way. Power running, misdirection, take advantage of over pursuing, and you can go right down the field on them. And we've seen that in the tackling numbers. The Jets missed 20 tackles, tied for the most by any team in a game this season. All right, sorry about that, guys. This camera sometimes the camera gives me some problems. Yeah, I'm here now. I'm good. All right. Recap. Let's bring this back up. Yeah, I know the video's good now. Yeah, I know the video's good. I apologize about that. Just sometimes this computer gives me shit. Gets frustrating. The microphone doesn't go in anymore, and the camera just randomly loses connection sometimes. So, what are you gonna do? A couple other things about this game. Actually, let's bring the misery back up. The Cardinals had 123 yards after contact on runs and passes. Again, complete lack of ability to tackle after Jeff Ulbrich spent the whole week talking about, here's how you tackle James Conner. And now we're doing this again. We're having another tackling session. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it should be completely unnecessary as well. Let me flip back the camera. There, that's the better camera. Okay. But the coverage on Sunday was horrendous. Sauce got targeted 3 times, allowed 3 catches. DJ Reed targeted 5 times, allowed 4 catches. Quincy Williams targeted 5 times, allowed 5 catches. Tony Adams targeted 3 times, allowed 3 catches. Kyler Murray completed 91% of his passes. He is the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to complete 85% of his passes with 250 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. They made this guy look like Randall Cunningham and Michael Vick had a freaking baby. I thought in this game, in my bold predictions, the Jets would have under 2 sacks. I was right. They had 1. That was it. And if you look at that was the only prediction I pretty much got right. I thought Arizona would win, but I thought it was actually going to be competitive. And it was anything but. And the defense was so anemic, it took the offense right out of the game. Yes, the offense was bad, but come on. This defense has taken such a step back. They have 2 interceptions all year, both by Brandon Echols. Apparently, part of this defense that Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich instilled in this team is you play aggressive, you play violent, but you don't take the ball away. For all the sacks they have, maybe they can knock the ball away from a quarterback one time. And as far as the offense goes, Aaron Rodgers, he completed 63% of his passes, but only 1 completion traveled more than 10 yards in the air. I'm still convinced he's hurt. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise at this point. I can't buy it. You can't tell me Aaron Rodgers would not be willing to take shots down the field if he was healthy. Now, they did only have 1 3-and-out, but it was dink and dunk. It was like watching the Paul Hackett offense all over again from years ago. I'll give you some final stats from the game because I don't want to spend too much more time on this garbage. First downs, Arizona had 28. The Jets had 17. Total yards, Arizona 406. The Jets 207. And here's one that I wouldn't have expected because the Jets have been a good red zone team most of the year. The Jets went 0 for 3 in the red zone. Arizona 4 for 5. And Arizona, by the way, punted only 1 time all game. But for anybody, and I still put this on the owner and the coaching more than anything. If you go back to 2016, when the Jets have 7 days or more to prepare for a game, they are 4-23. When they have a bye, extra rest, whatever the case might be, 4-23. That's on coaching because it's lack of preparation and not having your players ready to go for a game. It makes no sense that record is that pathetic. All right, let's go on to the snap counts for this game to see where this has been going. We do this every week on offense. So the Jets had 58 snaps on offense, the same amount as last week against Houston. Aaron Rodgers played all 58 snaps. Breece Hall got a little uptick with 47. Braylon Allen went down a little bit with 14. And Isaiah Davis got in the game in garbage time, had 2 snaps. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson down 1 to 56 snaps. Devontae Adams played all but 2. He was out of the Houston game for a little bit with an injury. And with Mike Williams gone, Xavier Gibson was the beneficiary, played 24 snaps of 14. Malachi Corley played 16. He got more time. Irv Charles played 5 snaps after not playing any the prior week. Tight end, Tyler Conklin played 45. Jeremy Ruckert played 20. That was down actually 2 from the previous week. Kenny Yeboah played 5, up 1. And then with the offensive line, you had Tippmann, Moses, Simpson, and AVT all playing 58. And then Olu Fashanu and Tyron Smith split time at left tackle. Fashanu coming in once Tyron Smith came out of the game with a neck injury, which he actually needed an MRI on. But hey, Fashanu played very well. Another good pick by Joe Douglas, Tony. Sorry, I had to. But yes, from all the ratings, Fashanu had a very, very successful game. And then I think, what were the numbers on that? So Fashanu played in his 33 snaps. 28 of those were pass blocking. He allowed 2 pressures, no sacks, and was one of the highest graded run blockers on the team. So credit to him. Actually, I'm going to reference this. Trading JFM away for nothing and signing Kinlaw are firing offenses of incompetence. Really? A 6th-round pick for JFM? And not bringing back Quentin Jefferson as a fireable offense? No. It's not fireable. There is not a GM who doesn't have misses in free agency and the draft. The JFM trade was a bad, bad trade. No question about it. That was like the one move nobody wanted at the time. Nobody felt good about it. But come on, Javon Kinlaw, really? Yeah, the idea was Michael Clemens would replace JFM. Complete failure. But come on, who did Javon Kinlaw? Whose spot did he take? Quentin Jefferson? How many do I need? I'm going to say it again. Quentin Jefferson has done nothing this season. Nothing. Yeah, they paid Kinlaw a little bit. They paid him more money. That's fine. But certain people, certain analysts need to stop acting like Quentin Jefferson was the second coming of Chris Jones. Come on. He was a terrible run defender. That's the thing. Jefferson never played the run well. And that's what the Jets needed more than anything. I had no issue with Jefferson going. He was a nice player, but they could have done better. I wish they would have drafted somebody. I would have liked to have drafted a defensive tackle. I advocated for guys like Dwayne Carter with like a mid-round pick. That was the kind of player I would like to have seen them get. Mekhi Wingo, those type guys. They didn't do that. Because, the coaching staff has the belief. They could coach up a defensive lineman, an undrafted defensive lineman, and make him good. They've done it with a number of people. Leonard Taylor, you're seeing some signs from him. But guys like Braden McGregor, Eric Watts, right now, you're not seeing anything. But defensive tackle, they pay Quinnen Williams a ton of money. So the idea was you find somebody low cost to go next to him because you don't want to invest too much money in the defensive tackle position. I understand that. But this was not a good year. I mean, Sheldon Rankins, that was a signing that was quite good. But you know what? He left. And since then, it's been Al Woods, Quentin Jefferson, 2 years with Solomon Thomas, Lecky Fotu can't get on the field, Javon Kinlaw. God knows I want Leonard Taylor to develop, but it's taken some time with him. Sean McIntyre, I didn't like the Huff trade either. What's up, Watts? Okay, well, Huff left in free agency, but a little bit different situation. But I hope you're having a good night, Sean. Let's go to the defense. So speaking of Javon Kinlaw, Tony, you're going to love this. They played 59 snaps, actually down 20 from the Houston game, and Kinlaw played the most of any defensive lineman. He played 44 snaps. Gosh dang. Michael Clemens played 39, even more depressing. Still does not know how to set an edge and making absolutely no progress whatsoever. He is just one player that is just not going to get it. That is not going to figure it out. Quinn Williams played 37 snaps, down 17 from the previous week. No need to really use him by the end of the game. Will McDonald got a lot less time. 32 snaps, down 16. Hassan Reddick, only 22 snaps, down 23. Leonard Taylor still got some time, 22 snaps, but, his time dropped also. Eric Watts, 14 snaps. Braden McGregor, 11 snaps. No Solomon Thomas due to an injury. That was a kind of a late scratch. So Taylor got Thomas's snaps. And at this point, just give Taylor the time. Let him learn. Let's see what we got in this kid. Hey, Dano, good to see you, my man. Hope you're having a good night. Why is Clemens still playing? Because he's about the only big defensive end that they have, unfortunately. They used Quinnen a couple times on defensive end. I would even try that. I mean, Watts and McGregor are not big enough to stop the run. But you know what? They brought up Bruce Hector. I'll look at like Bruce Hector at defensive tackle, Quinnen on the outside. Something to cut Michael Clemens' time. Something to cut Javon Kinlaw's time. Please. Just please. And then you go to the linebackers. Nothing too much to say here. Quincy and Jamian, played every snap except Jamie sat out for one. Sam Eguavoen got a lot more time, 38 snaps. So guys like who's the guy? Not Jared Bernard Converse, the other young Zaire Barnes. Yeah, you're not seeing him get on the field, but we saw Marcelino McCrary ball. And if it's not the final preseason game of the year, that's not a good sign. Cornerback Ahmad Sauce Gardner, 57 snaps, down 19. DJ Reed played 57 snaps. Michael Carter played just 13. So that is one big difference I think you're really seeing in the cornerback usage. Pretty much every game last year, the Jets would use 4 or 5 cornerbacks. Most of the games this year, it's been 3 or 4. Brandon Eccles didn't play because he was concussed. We didn't see Qantas Stiggers, didn't see Kendall Sheffield, none of those guys. So what this tells me is the focus was really on stopping the run. How'd that work out? They were so worried about Connor, they left themselves completely vulnerable to everything else. That's why Trey McBride was converting all those big third downs. And at safety, you had Jalen Mills, you had Isaiah Oliver. Great. As much as I've touted Jalen, he had his missed tackle issues in the game as well. And we can't deny that. We can't deny that. All right, so I'm gonna slowly bring the let's see, these slides back in because when I had to log off, it kicked me out. All right, so we're gonna get into the Jets news, and let's see, let's add that and add one more slide into the background here. All right, so the Jets news. And I'm going to switch it over to green now. So, yeah, I play the news stuff, and I get a warning on that one too. So can't even do that. Well, I do want to give first and foremost mention Mike Westhoff, who has had to leave the Denver Broncos. Had a recent health issue. Started to really feel it last week. Had an issue on the plane coming back from Kansas City. Apparently, the problems were related to his vision. Had to undergo an MRI. And the decision was made to send him home to Florida. So most likely, I know he's retired twice before, but you got to figure there's a good chance that this might be it for Westy. So wanted to give him the best wishes. I actually got to go on and have a conversation with him once when I was doing Green Bean Show back in the day, and he seemed to like my question, which I was very happy about. I have read his book, Figure It Out. I recommend the book. It's a very in-depth book. Like, he breaks down plays. Like, he's breaking down plays, and I don't even know what he's talking about. It's like reading calculus. But he gets into a lot of depth. The only thing I didn't like is he took a shot at my guy, Chad Pennington. That was the one disappointment that I really had. But it is a very, very detailed book. It's quite the fascinating read for sure. So definitely say a prayer and or send up good vibes for the best special teams coach in NFL history, for Mike Westhoff. So keep fighting, Westy, if you do happen to see that. The Jets do bring back Connor McGovern from New Orleans, and really, I was just looking at an excuse to post that mustache. So they have a little bit more depth on the interior offensive line. Wes Schweitzer has been on IR all year, so good to have McGovern back. Not that it's exactly moving the needle. All right, guys, we're going to get into this right now. And talking about the low point and why this is so frustrating. It's one thing to lose if you don't have the talent. If another team, like if the Jets from a couple years ago are going into Arrowhead, they get their ass whooped 35-0. You're mad, you're disappointed, you're angry, you're whatever negative feeling you have, but you understand it, right? You understand that you are not that talented of a team. Guys, we did an exercise when we went through the rosters, and even ESPN said that the Jets had the second best roster in the NFL, second only to the San Francisco 49ers. And the more I read that, the more I bought into the bullshit. Most of us did. I'm sure there was always one or two negative people out there. We know who they are. I don't want to mention them by name. But most of us believed it because God knows we've been looking for a real reason to believe for a lot of years now. But instead, what do we get? We get the tweet and delete treatment. First, let's read it from Sauce Gardner, responding to Rich Cimini's stock report when he said that Sauce Gardner had the costliest miss when he could not bring down Trey McBride on that huge third down conversion early in the game. Yep, I'm sure, 100% sure, me missing that tackle at the beginning of the second quarter for a gain of 17 yards was the costliest miss, and that is, in fact, what lost us the game. So he's basically reading the criticism and responding, and you can tell it's bothering him, or he would not be responding. And this is what is frustrating to me, because when the whole unit underachieves like this, I'm tired of people saying this guy's overrated, this guy's over. No, these guys aren't overrated. These guys are completely demoralized, and the coaching they have gotten sucked. That is what I genuinely think. When this many players regress, it is on the coaching. It's on the culture, if you want to put it that way. Sauce hasn't been as good. Quincy hasn't been as good. Quinnen hasn't been as good. DJ Reed is probably the one exception who's probably lived up to expectations. Who else has on the defense? Jalen Mills? If we were to name the 3 MVPs of the Jets defense, who are you going to name after DJ Reed? Think about it. Who deserves it? Javian Sherwood? Great, whatever. He's getting tackles, but you know what? There's a lot of linebackers who amass a lot of tackles, but don't make a lot of impact plays. CJ Mosley, chief among them, but he does provide leadership. And since he went out, the run game definitely has deteriorated. Can't deny that. And to me, that's on coaching. It's on the front office to get the best players they could possibly get, but it's on the coaches to bring them together. My opinion. So Sauce responded to that, and then he said he re-deleted social media again this week. This guy, he has ADHD when it comes to social media. Delete, undelete, delete. And then, not to be outdone, Quincy Williams, he pulls the tweet and delete himself. Y'all better remember this football shit, just my job. Find y'all someone else to play with, right, before you get found. Even Quincy's getting into this. It just really frustrates me. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I want to take a second here and just say this, because we know these rookie contracts are expiring very soon. And the front office, notice I said the front office, I didn't use the name. They're going to have to make some decisions on who stays and who goes. And at this point, you're not going to be able to pay everybody, especially if you cut Aaron Rodgers and are taking about a $50 million salary cap hit. And my question is, why would these guys want to stay? How long is it going to be until some of them start asking for trades, just like Jamal Adams did? Who's to say any of these guys are going to be any different? Brees, Garrett, JJ, Sauce, AVT, you name the guy. Why would they want to stay here? With the uncertainty of this franchise from the top all the way down, including who's going to be owning the team come next summer. Now, my expectation, you never know what Jets ownership is going to do. So a lot of people are assuming that JD's going to get fired. JD is not going to get fired per se. It'll come out as they've agreed to not offer him a contract. I still think he leaves, because why would he ever want to stay here? And I know that I've been a Joe Douglas truther. I know that aggravates a few people, and that's okay. Sean McAteer. Sean, they fired their offensive coordinator. They didn't fire their head coach unless news broke in the last 20 minutes. Work with me, brother. Sean, I love you. But they fired Shane Waldron. Matt Eberflus has not been fired yet. Okay. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you trying. But here's the thing. They're going to the folks will keep coming back to the record of the general manager, but again, I put all of this, the on-the-field product, first on the coaching. It's up to the general manager to collect the talent and all of that. And just like with every general manager, a lot has been done well, a lot has been done badly. But the chief issues were head coach and quarterback. Robert Saleh did not work out. A lot of people thought he was one of the chief, one of the main targets of a lot of teams' head coaching search. He has not proven to be a head coach. And as far as the quarterback thing goes, again, guys, Suppose the Jets didn't want Zach Wilson. What were they going to do? Draft Justin Fields? Draft Trey Lance? Draft Mac Jones? Kyle Trask? Davis Mills? What were they going to do? What was the alternative quarterback? Now, you could have gone the non-quarterback way and drafted a Jamar Chase, drafted a Penei Sewell. Well, you were going to draft Penei Sewell the year after you drafted Mekhi Becton. That wasn't going to happen. But you could have drafted Jamar Chase. But then you still would have had the quarterback question. What would you have done? The way Sam Darnold was playing, you either had to trade him or give him a contract, and it would have been a decent-sized contract also. Maybe somewhere along the way, maybe you could have brought in a Baker Mayfield, maybe, but that's about it. It was just crap timing. And I still believe, my personal opinion is a quarterback is, yes, it matters with his ability, but the organization has to put the right pieces in place for him to make it. You can be the greatest carpenter in the world, but if you don't have good supplies to build the house with, you're going to build a crappy house. What do you think that Lamar Jackson, drafted 32nd in the NFL, drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, one of the most respected franchises in football? Do you think if Lamar Jackson had gone to the Jets, he would have won these multiple MVP awards and gotten to the AFC Championship game a time or two? Basically rewriting NFL record books with the Jets? No, because the Ravens recognized his skill set. They catered the coaching staff and the offensive personnel to suit him. The Jets don't know how to do that. And you know what? Zach was just brutal anyway. I don't know if there's any team that could have made him, a respectable NFL quarterback. But being drafted by the Jets was pretty much the kiss of death for him. Sean's got to head out for a moment. Yep, I'll be on for a little bit longer, dude. I'll be on for a while. Quick reminder, guys, definitely hit the like button. We get our 15 likes. You know the deal. We know what we're gonna do. We're gonna spin the wheel. And who doesn't need a little levity after what we've been dealing with this week? Or for the last, God knows how many decades you've been a Jets fan anyway. There we go. Now, the lack of leadership, lack of accountability, it feels like they had a 2 to 3 year window to win a championship. And after this loss to Arizona, this was the first time where I really feel like they completely blew it. They're not even going to have a 500 season. They're not. It's pretty much where it is. And it is amazing to me that it has reached this level of low. I've seen worse Jets teams in my life, way worse Jets teams. But I cannot remember a team that has underachieved like this one has. I can't remember one. I still maintain the last time I saw a Jets team that was this talented, you have to go back to 2008 when Favre was still here, when Mangini was coaching. As far as the top to bottom roster, that team had 7 Pro Bowl players. 7! And they still choked the playoffs away. And, next week is the bye week after this game, to which we all say thank you, God. Yeah, I think next week I have an idea of what I'm going to do with next week's content as far as what we're going to do since we won't be previewing a game. But I think I'm going to talk about some coaching candidates. I just can't bear to look at GM candidates right now because I think it is going to be very difficult to find somebody who's a better evaluator of talent than Joe Douglas. Yeah, he messed up the head coach, and you could say he messed up the quarterback. But again, what was the alternative for the quarterback? Who was it? I don't think there was one. He's made a lot of great trades, had a lot of very good draft picks. Of course, he's had some failures. Every GM does. But I'm just getting a little bit tired of people saying, you got to fire Douglas, even like one certain former WFAN host, just some of the things that he said on a show on Monday, on Jake Asman's show. I thought it was absolutely just despicable. When you don't have a substitute in mind who would be better, then stop saying this guy needs to go. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. Yep, and it seemed to make sense. It's like we got Saleh in the building, and then his personality just changed. It's like, this wasn't the guy we saw in San Francisco. But yeah, it was Christopher Johnson, and it was Joe Douglas. That's who it was. But again, he's done a lot of things that made sense that did not work out. Lakin Tomlinson, chief among them. There were multiple Jets content creators who said Lakin Tomlinson was their number one target in free agency. Number one. And he sucked with us. He's done so much that made sense. And some of them just have just out and out failed. It's unbelievable. Dano, not just even talent, but decision making for signing our current players. Got the familiarity. Getting Quinton for under $100 million was remarkable. Yep. Did that well. Also kept Michael Carter II. Made sense. I still think Bryce Huff was going to leave anyway because he wanted the playing time, even though he's not getting it in Philadelphia anyway. So to me, Huff was going to be gone. I wasn't worried about that. And again, it didn't bother me because they drafted Will McDonald with the intent of taking that spot. And I'd say that draft pick's working out pretty well. I'd say it's working out pretty well. Man. Billy SBC, how you doing, man? A low point would be to go on a tear and wind up like 8 and 9. Hey, we can say we improved. If we finished 8 and 9, that would ensure us a mid-first rounder and give us no lure for a top head coach candidate. Here's the thing. You got to have some reasons for guys like Ben Johnson are only going to leave for a certain job because he's got a great situation in Detroit. What is it that the Jets would have that would make him want to come here? It's hard to say. We've been saying, yeah, they got the young talent. They got the young talent. Yeah, they do, but that talent has been hurt or a lot of it is underachieved, not all of it. But you know what? You're not going to have that talent cheap for a long time. At least the Jets do have some draft picks to work with. So there is a little bit of lore there. But again, how many people are going to want to work for Woody Johnson or even Christopher? As long as Belichick keeps running his fat mouth, you know, it seems like he is still trying to sabotage any ability that we have to be great again. And that word gets around. It's like, oh, this owner must really be horrible. Even Brian Costello in the New York Post, he said, who's the most likely Jets head candidate coach going to be next year? And he comes up with Matt Nagy, who absolutely busted out in Chicago. Matt Nagy. I said his name. Is there a single Jet fan out there listening to me who is like getting all hot and bothered overhearing Matt Nagy possibly being the Jets head coach? At least he has experience and he has an offensive mind. But oh my God, this is like Adam Gase just with like a 1-year wait period, 2-year wait period. Tony, can we interview assistant GMs from winning team for the GM job like Kansas City? I think you mean, right? Not the University of Kansas, right? Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason you can't do that. I mean, coaches, I don't think you could do that. But front office personnel, yeah. Yeah, I think Ray Atkins would be the primary guy, basically Brad Holmes' number 2 man in Detroit. God, how is there so much optimism just like 2 months ago, and then it deteriorated into this? Like, it just makes me sick. All right, a couple of injury notes. Tyron Smith has had an MRI on his neck. So we'll wait to see what happens there, but he did not practice today. A couple other players who missed practice. Devontae Adams with an illness, Brandon Eccles, Jake Hansen, CJ Mosley, and Solomon Thomas. Chuck Clark back. He is practicing fully, so I guess that's good. I guess I'll look at Jalen Mills and Chuck Clark, put Tony Adams on the bench because Adams can't tackle either. They're like, I guess Sauce and Tony Adams watched the same tackling video last week. And as far as Indianapolis goes, DeForest Buckner and Bernard Raymond, their defensive tackle and left tackle, missed practice respectively. Michael Pittman did miss last week with a back issue, but he did practice fully on Wednesday, so count on him playing. All right, let's get that out of there. All right, guys, you know what? It hurts me to do this. It hurts my heart. But we got to bring back the Tankathon slides, and we got to go into a little bit of depth on this because, God, I'm sorry. Unless the Jets win like their next 3 games in a row, I can't even think about anything else. The Jets, let's add that back. Cancel. There we go. All right, let's add that back in. Okay, so Currently, the Jets are 8th overall in the Tankathon standings, but they are only one game behind both Jacksonville and the Giants. And as we know, the tiebreaker is strength of schedule. The lower your strength of schedule, the higher the draft pick. And to the right, we've got the remaining strength of schedule. So if you're number 1, you've got the hardest remaining schedule. 32, you've got the easiest remaining schedule. All right, so Jacksonville and the Giants are both 2-8, 250 winning percentage. Jacksonville with a big strength of schedule advantage. Plus, they have a pretty lousy remaining schedule, 28 hardest in the NFL. You got a couple of teams at 2-7 in Tennessee, Cleveland, and Las Vegas. Tennessee, 506. Cleveland and Vegas are tied at 525. Cleveland, though, with a much harder remaining SOS, second hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. Now at 3-7, you've got 4 teams. You've got the Patriots, you've got the Saints, you've got the Jets. I'm going to quickly scroll over, and then I'm going to come right back. And you've got the Carolina Panthers. All 3-7. The Panthers have a 494 SOS, but they've got a 582 remaining strength of schedule, so they got one of the hardest remaining schedules left in the NFL. All right, so that number is going to go up. So they are actually tied with the Jets currently at 494. So if they finish with the same record, count on the Jets finishing with a better record. Now, the Patriots are way ahead, 463, but they've got a very hard schedule, the third hardest remaining in the league. The Saints, I think we got to root for a Saints victory or two. They're a little bit ahead of the Jets at 488, but a slightly easier strength of schedule. So those 4 teams all very, very close. It could really come down to the last week or two with that strength of schedule tiebreaker. All right, so you got 2 teams at 2-8 and 4 at 2-7, then 4 at 3-7. After that, you've got Miami and Dallas at 3-6. And who would have thunk that the Jets could actually pass Dallas? But the way the Cowboys are playing, no more Dak Prescott this season, who knows? But Miami, a very easy strength of schedule, 30th overall, Dallas right in the middle. And then you got 3 teams at 4-6. You got the Colts, who the Jets, of course, played this week at home. Cincinnati, don't count on them staying at 4-6. And then you've got Tampa Bay. But Indy and Tampa Bay, very easy strength of schedules. So if they finish tied with the Jets, there's a good chance that they will have higher draft picks than the Jets. So look out for Miami, Indy, and Tampa Bay because they've got very easy strength of schedules, whereas the Jets, still pretty good. They're at 27. So they're low, but there's other teams that are actually much lower. So that's what we're looking at right now. I'm not going to do a rooting guide just yet because I still feel at this point it's a little weird to root for other teams at this point just based off of that. I don't know. And to me, unless you're drafting a quarterback, it's kind of hard for me to root for my team to lose. It really is. Because the bad teams, the bad drafting teams will continue to draft bad most of the time. So, Billy with a good point. Yeah, responding to Harlan, I think we have decent personnel on the line. I would agree. They're just badly coached. Fashanu will get his reps now and will hold down that position for us next season. I think that's fair. Fashanu has looked good. Simpson's been a very good pass blocking left guard especially. Tittman's been fine. AVT has been okay. And Moses is doing what he can hurt. But again, yeah, I think coaching. Like, remember the slide that I showed you a couple weeks ago when 3 Jets were blocking the same player? So. Yeah. You know what, Harlan? There's been too many times I've been rooting for I'm done rooting for a tank. I want every win I can get. I want wins. We have rooted for tanks for too many years. So tanks, but no tanks. That's how I feel. Why this offensive line coach still here is beyond me. I hate advocating for people to get fired or people to get cut. I really do not like to do that. But if you can make the case for one person to leave this organization, it is Keith Carter. Besides Nathaniel Hackett. Although he's been neutered, you wouldn't know it based by the offense's performance on Sunday. Swig of Zoa for the working man and woman. A little tropical punch energy drink today. And I'm done with the cayenne pepper water because it did not work this weekend. All right. So that's what we're looking at over there. All right. So let's get that out of the way. Now we're going to do a little game preview here for Jets versus Colts. And the way the Jets are going right now, I couldn't really put a very positive picture up. We can't win with this coaching staff. I would say there's a couple of defensive coaches that I believe in, but as far as the offensive coaches go, I mean, I don't know. It's just when you don't have the right head coach, the assistant coaches look a lot worse. But I definitely expect a big house cleaning for sure. And you know what? My concern is who is the right coach at this point that you can get that is that CEO guy that will enforce the accountability, that will demand respect. I just don't know if you can get that from a first-time head coach. Guys like DeMeco Ryans are few and far between. First-time coaches who are also defensive-minded. I could deal with one of those traits. I cannot deal with both. I don't expect a veteran offensive coordinator who will command respect immediately. I don't expect that. But I need a leader more than anything. Because the Jets need that. When you have this much talent, I still continue to maintain this is one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. The Jets have lost to multiple teams they're more talented than. You can't tell me Denver is more talented than the Jets. You definitely can't tell me New England is more talented. Arizona, I would argue the same. How many, for the average football fan, how many starters on the Arizona Cardinals defense could they name? How many? 2, 3? Outside of Budda Baker, who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about? Billy, I'm with you. And that's what makes, that's what makes this season so freaking infuriating. It does, man. It does. I'd like to think one of these days all this is going to be worth it, but I can't make you any promises, guys. I can't. And the thing is, though, it's like they had heart and soul last year. The defense certainly did. How'd it get sucked out of the room? They had plenty of heart and soul last year. Yeah. What are we going to do? We're just going to give you a little preview on the Week 10 game against the Colts, or the Week 11 game, whatever the hell it is. Who cares? DVOA stats. All right, so let's talk about the efficiency here. Total offense. The Jets are ranked 22nd overall, same as last week. That seems almost merciful. Offense went down one spot to 19. Defense down -4 from 17 to 20. 18, 19. Yeah, from 17 to 21. Special teams remains at 29, even though we have the immortal Spencer Schrader, Justin Tucker, eat your heart out. And then Indy, well, they're 21st on offense, 17th on defense, 10th on special teams, 20th overall, same ranking as last week. The more I look at Indy, they are the epitome of an average, mediocre NFL team, at least until this week. So let's give you 5 things to know about Jacksonville. All right. So their quarterbacks have thrown 12 interceptions. That's tied for the most in the NFL. And Anthony Richardson, who will be starting this week through 7 of the 12. And how crazy is that? Even just 2 days, even on Monday, their coach said it would be Joe Flacco starting. This afternoon, he changes his mind, and Anthony Richardson is going to be starting. And you can't tell me that it's a coincidence going against this Jets defense who allowed Kyler Murray to run freely like he was Carl Lewis or Usain Bolt in the Olympics. Oh, my gosh. Number 2, Indianapolis's offense. They have the lowest average time of possession per game, 25 minutes and 54 seconds. So that defense is on the field the vast majority of the time. So I'll be looking at time of possession. Number 3, the defense is allowing 148 yards per game. That is 3rd worst in the NFL. The only teams worse are Dallas and Carolina. So you can move the ball on this D for sure. Number 3, they have 3 defenders, Indy does, who are in the top 10 tacklers in the NFL for most tackles. Number 1, Zaire Franklin, 105. Nick Cross, their safety, 98. He's 3rd overall. And number 9 in the NFL, E.J. Speed, 88. I don't know if that's his real name, but we'll go with it. So you've got the players with the 1st, 3rd, and 10th most and 9th most tackles all on the same defense. You got 2 linebackers and a safety. But number 5, they are in distress. 3 straight losses, and you see the evidence of that as they make this change at quarterback. So The Colts are a very shaken team right now. Let's see where they really are mentally. I really wonder. But then again, I wondered the same thing about Arizona coming in on a hot streak. But they had that game at home. The Colts have this game on the road. Anthony Richardson, very fumble prone. He has 5 fumbles this year. 5 fumbles. So you can take the ball away from him. So let's see what happens. And even though he throws interceptions, like we talked to you about earlier, Brandon Eccles is the only Jet to record a defensive interception this season. Oh, boy. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to see if there's any other comments here in the chat that I want to focus on here before we get into the trivia tonight. Yeah, I guess the seminars aren't working quite right because, it's like they're running the Tackling 101 seminar all over again. But 20 missed tackles in a game. Amazing. Tony, here's the thing. He's a free agent. Reed's a free agent. Going to be able to keep both? I don't know. Don't know how that's going to work. Let's want to do a quick like check here as well. How are we doing on the likes? Yep, we got our 15 likes. So we will spin the wheel after trivia. So I thank you all very much for that. Sharon McLean making her usual 6:55 p.m. entrance. Hey, Sharon, hope you're having a good week. Jets aside, I hope you're not letting them ruin your mood. For me, it's usually about a day to 2 days before I can really start to move on. But it's like I get too depressed, too angry to even record after the losses at this point. It's like I'm at that point. I just can't. It's like I need to take my mind off that team as quickly as possible. That's where my mindset is. I don't know. Okay, guys, let's do some trivia tonight. So we're going to add that to the stage. So every week, you know what happens. I go into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. I dig up the Encyclopedia Britannica. And I, watch you K99, challenge you, the most loyal freaking fan base in all of the NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York, godforsaken football, woebegone Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets trivia. All right, so every week, you guys know what I try to do. I try to make it as topical as I possibly can. So today we're going to have a little Jets-Colts trivia. And as you know, the Indianapolis Colts were in the AFC East with the Jets for a long time. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with them anymore. But we do have a Jets-Colts question. But we're not going to go back to the old days. We are going to go back to the last time that these two teams faced off. So I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to get this question. And by the way, you are 6 up and 4 down in trivia, in the 10 trivia questions. All right. So let's see. After this week, you'll either be 7-4 or 6-5. So let's see where we go. The Jets should only be there, right? All right. Your question tonight, it goes like this. The last time the Jets played the Colts was in 2021. They lost the game 45-30. Name the 2 Jets quarterbacks who played that game. And let's see if this works. I feel like I'm going into a spa in Calcutta. And that's going to put us to sleep. Yeah, all the crappy music is free. All the good stuff, you got to pretty much... all the crappy music you got to pay for, and even then, when you do pay for it and download it, they still get you. Frustrating. All right, Tony Alexio says Zachary Capono Wilson. Is it Zach Wilson? It is not Zach Wilson. He did not play in this game, which is probably why the Jets actually scored 30 points. Right? Is that how many games did Zach Wilson play where the Jets hit the 30 mark? I don't think it was too many of them. All right. So 2 quarterbacks in 2021. Of course, don't be looking it up. Don't be Googling it. Dano goes Mark Brunell. I think he always answers Mark Brunell. Is it Mark Brunell? Nope. And it is not Lee Cravat either. Harlan Abraham goes White. Mike freaking White. Is that a correct answer? It is. Mike White did play in that game. So that is one. Yeah, Billy, both of those have been guessed. So Mike White was one. And yeah, the Jets scored 30 points and threw 4 touchdowns. Yeah, so 4 passing touchdowns. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. All right, that's 2 minutes down, 3 minutes to go. Jalen Brunson is playing tonight despite hurting his ankle last night, as our campaign of Miles McBride. So it's going to be Nick's Bulls tonight. And we have the great Chris Bernigan from Kenosha, Wisconsin. He goes with Josh Johnson. Is that correct? It is. Josh Johnson and Mike White are your correct answers tonight for the trivia. Chat, way to go. You are 7-4. So the chat gets the trivia answer right tonight. Well done, Chris. Stays in the shadows, deep in the Wisconsin shadows. But he saw the question, and he pounced, and he wins it for the chat. So well done. Dano Gardner Minshew. I don't think Gardner Minshew is a Jet. In fact, I can hear the peanut gallery. I hear the peanut gallery right now for Dane. Oh, there they are. Ooh, Dane getting booed. Guys, take it easy on Dane. Not cool. Yeah, Mike White had a couple good games. He did. All right. Okay, guys, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do tonight. We are going to spin the wheel. Now, last time we did the running back wheel and the coach's wheel, as I remember. So I'm going to ask you guys here today. So here's what I'm going to do. I got to, let's see. I'm going to look at some different wheels here. I'm tempted to go with a season win, but we're just going to go ahead and do the 100 random wheel on this one. All right, so let's do that. All right, so what I got to do is share my screen. And, okay, this should work. I'm doing this all on Microsoft Edge, so it should work. I'm going to max that out. I'm going to go into my phone, make sure that everything looks good for you guys. Give that a couple seconds. Let's see. It doesn't seem to be coming up yet. Okay, let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, so so this is just this was a little bit behind. Okay, we're good. All right, guys. So let's. All right, I'm going to go ahead and max that wheel back out, and there it is. Okay, so we are good to go. So everybody, you know the rules. So what we are going to do is spin this wheel 10 times. Or maybe more, because we got a few new stipulations, you might say, sprinkled throughout the chat. We have not landed on one yet, but that will in turn affect how this wheel turns out. So we've got a whole array of Jets on this wheel, former Jets from Curtis Martin all the way down to Christian Hackenberg. And so we've got the Ring of Honor all the way down to the Ring of Hell. And then with each spin, we are going to rank that Jet on our top 10 list, from 1 being the top Jet to 10 all the way down to the least valuable Jet. And our goal is to go from best Jet to worst Jet. all the way through the wheel. Okay, so I'm going to spin the wheel, and before we do that, you know that one of the fun parts here is that everybody gets to pick their own jet for each spin on who you think we are going to land on. And if we land on that player that you pick, then you get to pick where that jet is going to go on our list, on our crazy list from 1 to 10. Okay, guys, so I'm going to let you start making your picks for either for who you think we're going to land on with spin number 1. Everything good with the chat? I hope it is. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, hey, Randella, how you doing? Are you here? Yeah, there you are. Okay. Yep, which Jets can be 7 and 4. I know. All my only goal at this point in my life as a Jets fan is to be able, like week 16, 17, to go to the playoff scenario generator and come up with a way that the Jets can make the playoffs. That's my whole goal at this point. It's so depressing. All right, I'm going to say Greg Van Roten is where we're going to land. I just got a bad omen about tonight, guys. I have a feeling we're going to land on some very, very bad Jets. All right, I see D. Milliner. I see Kyle Clifton. I see Don Maynard. All right. Okay, guys, so let us spin that. I'm going to give you guys about 10 more seconds. There, Sharon. Okay, great. Pat Leahy. Okay. I've got Van Roten. Okay, here we go. Our first spin of the night in 3, 2, 1. And here we go. We come to a stop on Leonard Williams. Well, very highly drafted Jet, very well thought of Jet. Didn't quite live up to the hype, but has made a pretty good career for himself. Moved on to the Giants and on to the Seahawks. Good run defender, but never quite was the pass rusher we wanted him to be, I would say. But yeah, we did. We got a pretty decent return for him. So, Chad, where would you want to rank Leonard? This is the kind of player you want later in the wheel when you only have a couple of spots left. But when you're doing it blindly and all 10 spots are open, it's going to be a little more challenging. All right, chat. Let your voice be heard. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. I'm not even going to take your demographics. All right, we're right around that, slightly less than average range. It makes sense. Okay. Harlan going a little bit tough in 8. Well, do you think we're only going to get 2 Jets worse than him? All right. All right. Looks like we're pretty balanced right now. I think I'm going to go. Yeah. Looks like this is going to be about a 7. Yeah, it comes out to about a 7 in the chat, and I think that's a good place. I would have considered a 6, but Sharon went with a 5. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one at a 7, guys. Yeah, I feel like I could. Well, 7, 8, 6, 5. Yeah, it's kind of right there in the 6 to 7 range. But yeah, I said 7. I'm going to keep it at 7. Okay. All right, so we're going to start there. All right, Randillo with the late edition. Okay, all right, you guys convinced me. I'm moving him up to a 6. All right, that's where I'll compromise. So Leonard Williams will be number 6 tonight. So there you go. Okay, so let's go on to spin number 2. You can keep the same player or you could change him up. I change mine pretty much all the time, every spin. I'm going to go with Le'Veon Bell. He's been rather active on Twitter, for those who haven't noticed. All right, Le'Veon Bell. All right, chat, let me see your guesses. Where are we going to go for our second pick? Harlan wants Joe Klecko. That'd be a great one to get. It's not very often that we fill the number 1 spot immediately. Sharon goes Bruce Harper. Nice. I like how Sharon always goes a little bit old school. Okay. Wait a little bit longer. Man, I've got such a good. There's so many good games. On a side note, in the NFL this week, I mean, you've got Bills, Chiefs, you've got Bears, Packers, and you got Ravens, Steelers. Those are probably my two favorite rivalries in the NFL. By the way, those two, and I get them on locally. It's like, why would I go out and watch the garbage Jets? Like, obviously, I'll follow it, but it's like, do I really want to go out for a change? Because I got to go out to see it to watch this team when I'll be actually watching like actual NFL caliber football. Man, oh man. All right, I see Boozer. I see Sheldon Richardson. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1. Round and round it goes, and it's going to come to a stop on Lamont Jordan, who just celebrated a birthday this week. Happy birthday to number 34. Wasn't with the Jets very long, but was a very, a solid, capable running back, a solid backup to Curtis Martin. Went on to the Raiders, had a very good year, and was almost never heard from again, unfortunately. So, yeah, I like Jordan when he was with the Jets. Kind of like Sean Green for his time, right? That kind of player. Chris goes 7, and you know what? I think that's about the right spot for him, too. I'm almost glad that we moved Williams up to a 6. I got to give Williams a slight edge over Jordan, but it is debatable. Tony Alexio feels a little bit differently. He wants to put Lamont ahead of Leonard Williams. Okay. It's like we never really got a chance to see what Jordan was capable of because he was never going to be a starter. So I feel like you have to look at him a little differently than how you would look at a lot of other Jets on this list, Yeah, it looks like the 7s are going to have this one. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. Yeah. I think Sunday is going to be roast pork day. Yeah, I'm going to make it a roast pork, like a pork got a boneless pork shoulder, and I'm going to roast that in the oven nice and slow for about 6 hours. Do that over some vegetables, over some baby potatoes and rainbow carrots, some onions, a lot of garlic cloves. And after that's done, I'm going to make a little gravy with the pan drippings. It's going to be good. Got to have a little bread to dip in that gravy too. So, yeah. So, hey, everybody can come over to my house. Have some roast pork. All right. Yep, there's going to be a 7. So number 34, 3 plus 4 is 7. So Lamont Jordan will be 7. Harlan says don't eat pork. My faith allows it. So I will be eating pork, brother. I had it for lunch as well, as a matter of fact. All right, let's go to spin number 3. All right, spin number 3. I'm going to go Joe Namath. Why not? Tony Alexio, Chef Y2K. Yeah. I made that pork dish a couple of times. It's one of my favorites. It's just you got to be home. Basically, what I do, I season it. I'll give you an idea. So I tie it up. I tie the pork shoulder up. Season well with salt, pepper, smoked paprika, and dried rosemary. I let it sit in the fridge uncovered overnight, so it dries the skin out. That helps you get really crispy skin. Put in the roasting rack at 300 for about 3 hours, fat side up. And that fat will start to get in there. Then I take the entire rack out, put in like a pound of baby potatoes, pound and a half baby potatoes, about 5-6 carrots, cut into big pieces, 2 onions quartered, and a bunch of garlic cloves. And then roast that pork over the vegetables for another 3 hours. And then the pork fat, it roasts in all the pork juice, and the vegetables just get crisp, tender. They're just amazing. And then you can make a gravy with that with a little bit of flour and stock if you want to do that like you would with Thanksgiving turkey. So, yeah, it's a great dish, and you get like 6 servings out of it. It's great. It's like a 7-pound pork butt I got. So good. Okay, so yeah, I went with Joe Namath. Let's see. Tony's got Nick Mangold. Sharon's got the GOAT, Chad Pennington. Randella says Lamont was okay on punt return. I don't remember him returning a lot of punts. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's go on. Spin number 3 in 3, 2, 1. And it's going to come to a stop on Sheldon Richardson. Oh, Dane, you came so. Oh, yep, Dane got it. Oh, Dane, you won it. You picked Sheldon Richardson 2 in a row, and you picked it right. So the only spots not open are 6 and 7. You can put Sheldon Richardson anywhere you want to on this list. Randilla's hungry. I think I'll post. Maybe I'll post a photograph on my on the YouTube thing. I'll definitely be putting it on Instagram for sure. At Watsuke underscore 1999. Yeah, if you guys follow my Instagram, it's like 95% food. All right, so yeah, this one's on Dane. So Dane, you pick wherever you want to put them. Just can't be 6 or 7. Dane, refresh my memory. How many years? What, 4 years? All right. So so as Dane ponders it over, yeah, and the pork butt, it's not that expensive. It was like $1.99 a pound, and it's like a 7-pound thing. So it's like just under $15 a pound. So it was a good buy. Some that I'll get like some 6 meals out of. Yeah, it's gonna be really good. I've been like putting Brussels sprouts in there too. Brussels sprouts roast well. The only problem with Brussels sprouts is I like cooking them on a high temperature so they get charred. And this you're kind of cooking them on a low temperature, so it's not quite as good. So yeah, onions, potato, but any root vegetable would work well there. All right, Dane, what's it going to be? We're all waiting for your ranking on Sheldon Richardson, on your boy. DK Metcalf was a full participant in practice. On a side note, top half of first round investment, underachieving defensive line for the most part. I got to go 8. Wow. Yeah, he was good. He was good, but yeah, it's like he faded off a little bit. You know, it's like he was like to me. Here's the only question I would have. And it's your choice, but would you put Leonard Williams ahead of Sheldon Richardson? I don't know. I don't know if I put Williams ahead of Sheldon. 5 or 8, I'm leaning 8. Okay. All right. It's your choice. Tony says turkey is good value now. I'm not seeing a lot of turkeys just yet in the grocery store. I'm seeing some, but not a lot. All right. Well, we got spots 6, 7, and 8 taken. I'll tell you what, we better do pretty well with the top 5 here because Leonard Williams, Lamont Jordan, and Sheldon Richardson are spots 6 through 8. So, Tony, I can't change it to 5. It's Dane's choice. 13th are all. I could go to 5, up to the chat and you, but 5 or 8, 5 is cool. All right, guys. All right, so Dane is giving it to you all the chats. So 5 or 8. So guys, let me see in the chat 5, 8. You guys decide. Tony is saying he should be a 5. All right. So Randilla, Chris, Sharon, Harlan, Arkansas, whoever else might be here. What do you think? He's going to let you decide 5 or 8. Harlan's sticking with 8. Yep. Tony had already voted. Yep. 5. Okay. All right. Looks like the 8s are going to win out on this one. All right. So Sheldon stays at an 8. Okay. All right. So I'm going to cut that off right there. Share what with a 5? Okay. Yeah, I know. It was not easy. 5? Okay. We got a couple of late 5s here. So Sheldon Richardson has moved up to number 5 on our list. I'm being very gracious tonight. we moved Leonard up. We moved Sheldon up. All right. We'll do it. All right. So just to recap where we are. Number 5, Sheldon Richardson. Number 6, Leonard Williams. Number 7, Lamont Jordan. So we got remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 10. All right. I'm going to go with my next pick, Braden Mann. The Braden Mann who has punted the second most touchbacks in the NFL this year. That's right. All right. I'll give you guys all a second. I'm going to be back in about 15 seconds. Okay. All right. We are back. As a spider just somehow crawled on my table. All right. So I'm going with Braden Mann. All right, folks. Who is going to be your pick? Dano is going to try to make it 2 in a row with Sean Green. Okay. Well, there's an interesting pick. All right. 16 likes. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, guys, please do that. Really helps me out. Yeah, we're still about just under 40 subscribers away from 1,000. So got to get the word out there. Trying hard for you. Really trying to get to that 1,000 mark because that's a big milestone. But yeah, right now it's getting a little tough to get it out there, but I'm trying to. Tony Alexio says Bruce Harper. Chris Bradigan says Q. Which Q? You say Q, I think Quincy or Quinnen, but I know that's not who you mean. Oh, Quincy Enunwa? Okay. Harlan Abraham, Braden Mann's highest averages this season. Should anybody be shocked? All right, let's go to spin number 4 in 3, 2, 1. And that wheel goes around, and it's going to come to a stop on. Oh, I'm close, but not quite. I was one spot away, and Dano was one spot away. Instead, we land right in the middle with Richard Todd. All right, Richard Todd. Well, he did a great job at finding the open linebacker, didn't he? Now, in the Mud Bowl in Miami. So now I was not around to see Richard Todd play. I was born during the time that he was Jets quarterback. So yeah, where are we going to put Richard Todd? I don't know. I feel like I would put him pretty much right in the middle of this, but with spots 5, 6, and 7 taken, where are we going to go? Do you put him above that Sheldon, Leonard, and Lamont, grouping, or do you put him below that? So chat, I really want to see what you guys have in mind on this one. Harlan, Todd wasn't a bad quarterback. Let me see if I can pull some stats up real quick. Yeah, it was crazy. He was traded after that AFC Championship game to New Orleans and never heard from again. He wasn't a tough spot, being that he was a starting quarterback drafted out of Alabama, just like Namath was. I'll give you the stats. So he threw, holy hell. Oh, boy. I know it's this bad. So he played with the Jets from 76 to 83. Had a record of, it's hard to isolate with the Jets, 42, 47, and 1. Completed about 54% of his passes. 113 touchdowns to 142 interceptions. 14 rushing touchdowns. Sacked 230 times. Not the best numbers, but they did have some success. Yeah, it looks like the eights are winning out on this. Sharon does go with a 4, but we got the 8s are winning out. Plus, there's a 9 as well. Yeah, we got to go Richard Todd in the 8 spot. All right. So we got spots 5, 6, 7, and 8 taken. We're 4 spins down. We are 6 spins to go. All right, I got to pick a high or a low somewhere here. I'm going to go with Larry Grantham, who was a fantastic linebacker for the Jets for many years, hopefully gets in the Hall of Fame one day. But Larry Grantham, I think, was the only Titan, or one of 2 Titans, to also win the Super Bowl with the Jets. I'm going to say Larry Grantham is who we're going to land on. We're going to do a number for quarterbacks. We're lower back then, but yeah, the interceptions are scary higher than that. I know quarterbacks tended to go deep, but he still had Walker and guys like that. Mickey Schuler. He had some good pieces to work with. A very good running game, pretty solid offensive line. So But yeah, 3 interceptions in the AFC Championship game. That hurts. All right, I see Jeremy Curley. I see Sean. Dane's going to stick with Sean Green until we land on him. I know it. Tony goes with Brick. Harlan goes with Tune. I know Sharon wants to pick, so I'm just going to give Sharon a second to get her pick in. We got spots 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. By the way, for any Mets fans out there, I did put a video up this morning, 8 sleeper pitchers the Mets could target in free agency, so you might want to look at that. Or if you're a baseball fan in general, just sleeper pitchers that the Mets, really any team could target. Yes, Dane, I know you very well. Yeah. Hope we get to meet you and everybody else in the chat one of these days. That'd be really good. I hope. Randella, is Lance Smell on there? I think Lance Smell was at one time. I don't know if I still have him on, though. Yeah, to add some other people, I had to take a couple of people off. I think Lance Smell might have been one of the victims. Yeah. And she goes with Freeman McNeil. Okay, spin number 5 in 3, 2, 1. And the wheel. It comes to a stop on Curtis, my favorite Martin. Number 28, Hall of Famer, number 1 in your hearts. Is there really any other place on the list he is going to wind up? And aren't we glad that that spot is open? Yeah, I'll give everybody about 5 seconds to get their vote. As if there's even a debate on this one. I wish when we land on certain guys like Curtis Martin, I could get confetti to come down. That'd be pretty good. So. Yep. All right. I think we're all pretty unanimous on this one. This is going to be number 1 on our list. That's right. Acknowledge the artist that is Curtis Martin. The art of running. All right. Yep. Curtis Martin's number 1. Okay. We're good there. So we are halfway home. So to recap where we are, number 1, Curtis Martin. Number 5, Sheldon Richardson. Number 6, Leonard Williams. Number 7, Lamont Jordan. And number 8, Richard Todd. So we're halfway there. We've got 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10 left to go. So we want some good Jets or we want some crappy Jets. I'm going to say with our next one, as everybody else starts to put their guesses into the chat, I'm going to say, why not Sam Darnold? Why not Sam Darnold, right? I think that would seem kind of fitting. Harlan, just to be different, goes with number 2. Okay. All right. Tony goes Wesley Walker. We know Dane's got Sean Green locked up. All right. So I've got Darnold. Dane's got Green. Tony's got Wesley Walker. I'll give everybody another moment or so to get their votes in. Chris Bradigan goes with Doug Bryan. All right. Randilla goes Joe Fields. Did I put Joe Fields on this wheel? I don't recall entering him on this. Yeah, I don't think Joe Fields is on that one, Randall. I'll give you a second. Harlan, what if Namath comes up? You know what, Harlan? There's a lot of people who would say Curtis Martin was a better Jet than Joe Namath. Now, many of them, like me, have seen Curtis play. They've not seen Namath play. But you know what? You couldn't be too mad if we had Curtis over Namath. That wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Sharon goes with Randy Rasmussen. Good one. All right, here we go. Too bad Fields was a good center. Hey, you know what? I could always put him in and take somebody out one of these days, The wheel is not permanent. The wheel does get updated at times. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. This is spin number 6, and we land on, Brett Favre. Sharon, you were so close. So close. Man, we've come very close, but Brett Favre is Brett Favre. So Brett Favre was here in 2008, and Brett Favre he had some very good games with Arizona, but Brett Favre got hurt, and Brett Favre wouldn't sit out because Brett Favre had to keep Brett Favre's winning streak going. Because that one makes Brett Favre happy. It's Brett Favre rewriting the record books, even though Brett Favre and the Jets blew a playoff spot that year. Not that I'm still bitter over that season. 7 Pro Bowlers, and oh my gosh, I'm actually rereading the book about that season. No Substitute for Sundays by Steve Serby. I'm actually reading that book. It's on my nightstand right now, ironically. All right, where's Brett Favre going to do? We could put Brett Favre at number 4. Number 4 is open, but I don't think the chat wants to do that right now. We're putting Brett Favre low on the list. I've got 9, 9, 9. Chris Bradigan still bitter over it. The Wisconsin native wants Brett Favre at the bottom of the list. 9, 9. Wow. I didn't expect that much heat, but all right. Brett Favre is number 9. Okay. Yeah. Chat spoke decisively on that. I appreciate that. All right. So we got spots 2, 3, 4, and 10. Next spin. This is spin number 7. All right. I'm going to go Brian Thomas. I feel like we got another sort of middle of the road jet coming up. Okay. So I'm going to go Brian Thomas. Pretty good player. Maybe not a first round level player, but still good. Good, solid player for a long time. All right, guys, who are we going to pick? Who are we going to go with? So I've got Brian Thomas. Let's see. Tony goes with Darrelle Revis. Dana's loyal, if nothing else. Yeah, Tony going with the best Jets. With some good ones. Brick, Freeman, Revis. Harlan's got to go. All right, Harlan, have a good night, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, be sure to watch the rest of the stream when you have a chance to see how the wheel finished up. I appreciate you. Every week, Harlan is a good, loyal man, and we love him for it. Randilla goes Kevin Mawai. Bradigan goes with Kenny O. Sharon. Waiting on Sharon and see if Arkansas picks one. Okay. Winston Hill. Nice. I like it. All right. Let's spin. Spin number 7 in 3, 2, 1. Spin. That's right. No hesitation. Let's go. And we land on. You can't make this up. Sean Green. Dane O. What are this week's lottery numbers? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with this guy? I think this is a first. I think this is the first time in all the times we've done the wheel where somebody got 2 spins right. Now, you've got a decision to make here, Dano. Where are you going to put Sean Green? Number 1, Curtis Martin. Number 5, Sheldon Richardson. 6, Leonard Williams. 7, Lamont Jordan. 8, Richard Todd. 9, Brett Favre. Are we going to put him below Brett Favre at number 10, bottom of the list? Or do we put him over those players that we named already? And if so, do we go 2, 3, or 4? Numbers taken again. I know. Numbers taken 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You've got 2, 3, 4, or 10 to choose from. That's it. All right. So 2, 3, 4, or 10. What's it going to be, Dane? And this time, whatever you pick is final. Chris says go with a 4. Tony says go with a 3. They're trying to sway you, Dane. They're trying to sway you. What's it going to be, my man? Swig of non-cayenne pepper water for the working man and woman. And the non-working man and woman as well. Why not? He helped us win a playoff game or 2. I'm going for 3 because I know we'll need 4. Okay. All right, Dane. So Sean Green will take spot number 3 on our list. Yep, that is your final answer. That's it. All right, it's taken. So remaining on the list, we've got spots 2, 4, and 10 left. Okay. So we'll do this for the last two spins. The last spin, we're not gonna do that one because it's the last spin. Okay, where are we gonna land? We gotta get a bust somewhere there. We haven't had a true Jets out and out bust yet. There is no way we're going a whole wheel without getting a Jet who just makes us want to pull our hair out, right? I'm gonna say Vladimir Dukas. Big Vlad, big ugly himself. One of the many, many offensive linemen the Bills poached from us after he wore out his welcome with us, because the Bills like doing that. All right, Tony goes Fitzmagic. Dane goes Brandon Marshall. Okay. Just wait a few more minutes for everybody else to put their votes in. Chris goes with Eric Decker. Roger. Roger's made it. You're here for the wheel, though, buddy. You are here. You made it. Okay. YouTube's hiding the comment because you dropped an F-bomb. All right, Roger, just to recap on where we are. We got 3 spins left. The remaining numbers are 2, 4, and 10, okay? Here's what we got so far done. Number 1, Curtis Martin. Number 3, Sean Green. Number 5, Sheldon Richardson. 6, Leonard Williams. 7, Lamont Jordan. Number 8, Richard Todd. And number 9, Brett Favre. So this has been a good wheel here. This has been a pretty solid wheel. So we got to fill in spots 2, 4, and 10. Okay. So Sharon's got Mo Lewis. Roger, I'm going to give you a second. Roger, I'm going to let you drop your prediction for who we land on. And the job here is to thwart Dane's attempt at a hat trick. Dane has got his pick right twice tonight already. Can you do it? Good placing, Roger says. Hey, we try, man. We try. All right, Roger, we're all going to give you a second to make your decision on who we're going to land on. And let's see if latecomers get good luck. Roger goes Sione Puha. Puha. All right. Here we go, guys. This is spin number 8. We're looking to fill in spot 2, 4, or 10. And we still have not landed on any of our stipulation spots either. We will at some point. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. And it's going to come to a stop on Wayne Krebet, number 80, everybody's favorite underdog wide receiver, the pride of Hofstra University and the pride of the green and white himself. You know, never going to be a Hall of Famer, but definitely a Jets Hall of Famer. Just like our guy more than anything, right? Yeah, I got a feeling I know where this one's going to wind up. Chris Bradigan goes with a 2. So 2, 4, or 10. Where are we ranking Wayne Krebet? All of a sudden we get a string of 2s, lots and lots of 2s. Awesome. Ring of Honor top remaining number. Yep, there you go. There we go. So number 2 is Wayne Krebet. So we've got number 4 and number 10 left. I'll tell you what, you don't even have to have an all-out bust for number 10 because Brett Favre's number 9. And number 4, we're looking for someone in the Sean Green to Sheldon Richardson. So really, we're just looking for a good, solid Jet here. So we're looking for, we're just not looking for a Hall of Famer at this point, because we're not going to rank Joe Klecko or, Wesley Walker above Sean Green. You know what I mean? Or Darrelle Revis. Boy Green said Krebet is the most overrated Jet of all time. He was kind of the trendsetter for that slot receiver. I mean, Krebet was a very good receiver, but he was a number 2 receiver. He was not a number 1 player, but neither was Wes Welker. So, hey, you know what? Boy Green, he's not afraid to speak his mind. I respect that. The most overrated Jet of all time. I mean, he does get an incredible amount of love, but I don't know. If I had to say who an overrated Jet was, I feel like Bart Scott's a little bit overrated. If it wasn't for the can't wait, what would we really remember Bart Scott for? I think he's up there. I think I hate to say Ken O'Brien, but I don't want to do that, but he's up there. Yeah, I don't know how many overrated Jets there really are. So some would even say Joe Namath, which is pretty crazy. All right. So let's go to spin number 9. This is the last one we're going to pick here, okay? It's the last one. I'm going to say, I had one in mind, but I'm going to go against it. Chris Herndon. We got the bus is coming, guys. The bus is coming. Chris, I can't call Aaron Rodgers a bust. He got hurt. He has not been a bad Jet. I don't think so. Disappointing compared to what we were hoping for. Yes, but you know what? It's not him who's holding the team back. The defense has taken a major step back. The offense has actually been better. I can't call Aaron Rodgers an absolute bust. I can't do that. Coles may have been better. Yeah. Tony seems to agree with me there. Yeah, he outplayed the Jeff Grahams and those guys in the world. Ryan Yarborough. Yeah, Sauce has been a bad tackler, but he could still cover. When you get 2 first-team All-Pros your first 2 years, and Rookie of the Year, you're not a bust. You're just not. If he winds up being Muhammad Wilkerson, that would be disappointing, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. All right, guys, who are we going to pick for our 9th spin? Who are we going to land on? Got spot 4. We got spot 10 left. Tony Alexio says Mike Williams. Yeah, for the biggest bust, he had 1 year, $10 million. Now, Tremaine Johnson, that's a bust. That's a bust. Le'Veon Bell, that's a bust. Neil O'Donnell, bust. Not that I want to keep going down all these names, but, there's a difference. To me, there's a big difference between a disappointment and a bust. Brandon Marshall, Dane says, Bubba Franks. All right, yeah. Yeah. He was here for the Favre year, and he did nothing. Sharon goes Boomer Sharon Boomer Esiason for the bus because Boomer's not on the wheel. Yeah, Boomer had a rough go of it. Not that he's my favorite person. He actually cursed me out on Twitter once. He's the type of guy, he won't respond to anything positive you say to him, but if you say something negative, he'll jump on you. That's what I can't stand. People are like, Twitter's so toxic, Facebook's so toxic. He's like, people say a lot of positive things, but you ignore those, but the negative things you choose to focus on. What is that? But Boomer had 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years. It's kind of hard to be successful with that. Chester McLaughlin. Well, if you mean biggest bust, literally, yeah. I remember, I told this story before. I'm listening to Steve Summers interviewing Ted Cottrell, who was the Jets' defensive coordinator at the time. He was actually the Bills' defensive coordinator during their 4 Super Bowls. And McLaughlin was so big, he said, is it true that Chester McLaughlin is getting the uniform number 747? And is it also true, Ted Cottrell, defensive coordinator of the New York Jets, instead of a locker, they're giving him a hanger? And the whole time, Ted Cottrell's just totally busting up. He's like, oh, Steve, you are terrible. He's just completely busting up. It was so funny. All right. Here we go, guys. Spin number 9 in 3, 2, 1. Who are we going to land on? Where is this going to take us? We land on Jamal Adams. Speaking of players who fell off, let us all pray to the Lord above that Sauce does not go the way of this guy. Jamal Adams made a Pro Bowl or 2 as a Jet, basically won a game or 2. He ripped the soul out of Daniel Jones that one day when he snatched the ball out of his hands and ran it into the end zone. So, but then the way he fell off, he was a selfish player. One of the most selfish Jets we've ever seen. Joe Douglas got a great haul for him. And ever since then, Jamal's just kind of drifted. Was with Seattle, started getting hurt. And he proved he's a good tackler, but you don't want him in pass coverage. So in this case, yeah, I think we got to put him as a 10. And he might be the best 10 we've ever had on this list. He might be. I go to some of the other 10s we've had. Vlad Ducasse, Calvin Pryor again, Braden Mann, Zach Wilson, Michael Carter again, Christian Hackenberg. This is the best 10 we've ever had, is Jamal Adams. So, yeah, absolutely a disappointment compared to what we expected. but there were times when he was the best Jet and he did make plays. So we put him down here on this level. I think that's fair. All right. So he is our number 10. Now I'm going to recap this list one time, and then we are going to spin the final time for the night, spin number 4. So number 10, Jamal Adams. Number 9, Brett Favre. Number 8, Richard Todd. Number 7, Lamont Jordan. Number 6, Leonard Williams. Number 5, Sheldon Richardson. Number 3, Sean Green. Number 2, Wayne Corbett. Number 1, Curtis Martin. Sharon, I know if we had landed on Adams earlier, I don't think there's any way we would have made him a 10. But compared to everything else we have on this list, you know what? You can make the argument because the finish was so bitter. You know, like the taste, and also like the way he treated people, like the way some of the beat writers talk about him, the way he's like treated like Connor Hughes and his family and stuff like that. Yeah, you can make him a 10, and I am completely okay with it. Roll my sleeves up. So yeah, just the way he conducted himself, yeah, you can lower him a couple of notches. Okay, guys, this is the final spin of the night. And before we do that, as always, guys, I want to thank you. We've gone an hour and 45 plus minutes, now an hour 46. This has been a fun show. Despite our heartache, I'm glad that we have each other, this crazy little family of Jets fun on Wednesday nights. And I want to do what I can to, to keep it growing. So if you enjoy it, share the channel with a friend, tell somebody about it. That's the best way to spread the news. Okay. And Dave's going to guess anyway, Eric Decker. Tony's going to go Adrian Rowe. Yeah, what the hell? Guess anyway. Yeah, why not? Chris goes with Al Toon. Hey, Roger, you could always go back and watch. I went on semi-rant mode, but, on Wednesday night, it's hard to still be ranting about a game that took place several days earlier. And I'm sorry again about the little camera snafu earlier on. It's just, this computer does give me some tech issues at times, but what are you going to do? You do the best you can with what you've got. Okay, here we go. This is going to be the final spin of the night. I see Brian Cox. I see Wayne Corbett. Well, we're not going to pick the same player twice, David. So, David D., I'll give you a quick heads up. Go ahead, change your pick. Randilla goes with Johnny Hector. Yeah, because we landed on Corbett earlier, so we can't use him again. So I'm going to give David D. one quick, just a couple of seconds. All right. Lamont Jordan. David, you went with another player we've already picked. Come on, man. Sharon goes with Mark Astino. David, one more chance. You've already fouled off 2 pitches. Tony, you're welcome for the cooking lesson. You're very, very welcome. Oh, and at the end, I sprinkle a little bit of a bunch of fresh parsley into the gravy after I take it off the heat. So it's about 3 cups of chicken stock. Once I blend about half cup of flour with the fat, and then slowly whisk in the 3 cups of chicken stock. Let it come to like a light boil, sort of like a good simmer. And then when it's done, it's thick, reseason, and add in the fresh parsley. The green makes it so much nicer. David D. Scotty McKnight. I give up. All right. Spin number 10 for the night. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and spin. There we go. And our final spin of the night, it comes to a stop on Victor Green. An excellent safety for a while with the Jets. Guys, I got to tell you, Victor Green, the one problem, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring myself back on here. There we go. Don't say Boyle. Okay. My problem is, can you really rank Sean Green as a better Jet than Victor Green? Because we got Sean Green at 3 and Victor Green at 4. If I could switch those 2, I'd be in on this. I would say we won this wheel. But Victor Green's got to go in the 4 spot. And, the truth of the matter is, I'm just going to look these stats up real quick. I know we're comparing a running back to a safety. That's kind of not fair. But, yeah, I don't feel quite right doing that. Sean Green, as we pull the stats up real quick. Dano says, I hate this freaking camera. I hate this. It never started giving me issues until recently. So now I'm just using unmute. Yeah, there we go. Every now and then that camera is losing its connection. So yeah, it's getting a little bit frustrating here, but it's like can't go out and buy a new computer to fix this. So yeah, might even take it into Best Buy to check the drivers. Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know, but all right, guys, I got to tell you this though. In all fairness, though, the wheel it was going very well, but the fact that Sean Green got a higher grade was ranked higher on the list than Victor Green, guys, I'm sorry, I just can't go with it. I got to call it a loss for the night. I hate to tell you that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much again for joining me tonight. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week. Keep checking out NY Sports Wicker Media for more content. I'll be dropping my confidence picks on Thursday. And then probably by Friday night, I'll have up my game preview video and the bowl predictions videos for the Jets-Colts game as well. I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Good night, everybody.